So, today we are pulling back the curtain on a pretty wild system that some creators are using to build, well, entire content empires using AI. We're talking about a full on blueprint for automatically churning out finance videos, from the initial idea all the way to the final upload. I mean, listen to that claim. It's huge, right? Unlimited videos. You never have to be on camera, zero editing, and you don't have to pay for any of the tools. It honestly sounds a little too good to be true, but that is the core promise of the automation workflow we are going to break down today. Okay, so the million-dollar question is, how is that even possible? A system that can take a simple idea and spin it into content that could go viral, and do it in just a few minutes. Let's get into it and see how it all works. All right, first up, let's talk about the promise of automated content. Because to really get why this new way is such a big deal, you have to remember the old, super painful way of making videos. You'll see just how much of a game changer this AI system really is. You know, for any creator out there, the traditional way is just a grind. You spend hours agonizing over scripts, you record audio over and over again, and then you sink even more time into that tedious, soul-crushing editing. It's exhausting, it can get really expensive, and it is just painfully slow. But the source material we're digging into here, it's proposing a completely different path. A workflow that's automated, basically free, and built to scale massively from day one. And look, this isn't just some theory someone cooked up. There's a channel out there using this exact method that has pulled in 124,000 subscribers. That is a serious audience, built entirely on the back of this AI-driven strategy. And what does an audience like that mean for the bottom line? Well, according to data from vidIQ that was cited in the source, that very same channel is potentially pulling it up to $9,000 a month. So this proves that the strategy isn't just for getting views, it's actually financially viable. And that, my friends, is a game changer. But you know, it's not just about the automation tech. It's also about the very specific visual style they're using. A huge part of this whole strategy is a surprisingly simple formula that just seems to hook people in. So the secret weapon here is the stick figure whiteboard animation. And the source material argues there's a really deep psychological reason this works so well. I mean, think about it. From the time we're kids in school, we are literally conditioned to stare at a whiteboard and pay attention to whatever is happening on it. That instinct just carries over, and it makes these videos feel instantly engaging. And this is not just some little YouTube trick. The source makes it crystal clear that this simple, clean stick figure style is an absolute powerhouse across the board. It works on YouTube for your longer deep dive content, and it crushes it on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook for those short, snappy viral clips that can just explode your growth. Okay, now for the main event. Let's get into the nuts and bolts, the actual step-by-step blueprint that automates this whole thing. The best way to think about it is like a digital assembly line for making content. So the entire workflow is broken down into 4 pretty clear phases. First, you've got the foundation. This is where you build your channel's brand and come up with those killer video ideas. Next is creation, where the script and voiceover get made. Then you have the third and honestly the most important phase, automation. This is where the magic of creating visuals in bulk happens. And finally, everything gets put together in the assembly phase. And here's the best part. Each of these phases is powered by specific, and did I mention free, AI tools? For that foundation phase, you're using ChatGPT for brainstorming ideas, an image generator called Whisk for branding, and Google's Notebook LM for research. When you just do creation, a tool called GenSpark writes the scripts, and Gemini generates a super realistic text-to-speech voiceover. The key automation step, the real heart of the process, uses a tool called AutoISK. And then for that final assembly, you can use free editors like CapCut or Canva. Let's just zero in on AutoISK for a second, because this thing is the engine of the whole system. It's a browser extension that basically takes a whole list of text prompts, one for every single scene you want in your video, and then automatically generates all the images you need in one single batch. This is what completely replaces those hours of manual work, where you'd have to sit there and generate each image one by one by one. With AutoISK, it's just one click and it's all done. So, when you actually put all these pieces together, what you have isn't just a random collection of tools. It's a complete end-to-end blueprint for your very own personal content factory, one that can churn out high-quality videos at a totally incredible pace. And the difference is just, it's night and day. The old way meant high effort, it could have high costs, and it took you hours to make a single video, which made it almost impossible to scale up. This AI blueprint completely flips that on its head. We're talking low effort, zero cost, minutes per video, and basically unlimited potential for scale. Oh, and get this. The automation doesn't even stop once the video is pieced together. The source material shows how you can use that same AI tool, GenSpark, to generate prompts for your thumbnail, spit out dozens of click-worthy titles, and even write your entire SEO-friendly video description. The whole shebang, from that first spark of an idea to the final upload, is completely streamlined. This quote from the source. This really says it all. The potential efficiency here is just staggering. I mean, the idea of producing an entire month's worth of content in a single day, that just changes the entire equation of what it even means to be a content creator. Which, brings us to our final, pretty provocative question. This blueprint, it effectively turns content creation into a manufacturing process. So when anyone can produce huge volumes of content this easily, what does it mean to be a creator anymore? Does our value shift away from the hard work of production and more towards curation, strategy, and just plain good ideas? It's definitely something to think about as these tools get more and more powerful.